What's happening, people? Welcome to Rush Hour, where we preview the Giants' upcoming game. And of course, this week we have a very, very big game, which is, of course, against the Dallas Cowboys. So much to talk about. We're going to basically try to do a lot in a little bit of time. I'm bringing in Chris. Rush Hour is here every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Preview the game that's coming up. And of course, there's been some changes in the Giants organization with the roster coming up. Let's bring in Chris. Let's get right to it. Chris, how are you?
Hey, Craig. I feel like I just saw you.
Exactly. Yeah. So, Chris, Rush Hour, you guys have been kind of spearheading this every Wednesday, and you've been previewing.
Oh, by the way, Craig, I don't want to interrupt. Jake just said he can't hear us. I don't know if that or
Oh, he can't hear us?
I don't know. Maybe Jake, if you can hear us, let us know. Jake put in a comment, can't hear you. I'm not sure if that's our audio or just we was talking too low. I'm not sure. Maybe
interesting. All right.
Maybe Jake will respond. Let us know if you can hear us, everybody. Whoever's in here.
Yeah, that's not good if they can't hear us. Let's see.
They came now. All right, thanks, Jake.
All right, Jake can hear us now. All right.
Cool.
So, Chris, every Wednesday, you, Mike, Stewart, the Truth, Spartan, you guys kind of hold the show on Wednesdays, and you guys are talking about a preview and what's going on for the upcoming week. We know the Giants, of course, have the Dallas Cowboys coming up this week. Let's start there, right? Let's start off like the New York Giants having a rough year. They're going up against not only one of the best teams in the NFC East, but one of the best teams in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
Where should we start?
I guess we'll start with the obvious. Tommy DeVito's first career NFL start coming up.
Yeah, that is very true. All right, so you want to do Tommy DeVito first, or you want to do stats and dig into the meat of?
Yeah, I guess Look, I mean, the stats they're pretty much speak for themselves. I mean, it's going to be pretty obvious, except for a couple that are close. But we'll do stats. We got offense, defense, whatever you want to start.
All right, I'm going to read you off what it looks like from an offensive perspective. Okay. Giants playing the Cowboys in Dallas this coming weekend. Thank God it's an away game. But you, my friend, are going to the game.
That is correct. Booked it a few months ago. Unfortunately, I will be there for the implosion.
Yes. So let me dig into this. Points per game. The Giants rank 32nd with 11 points per game. The Cowboys are ranked 3rd with 27 points per game. So you look like you're going into this Dallas Cowboy game up against a juggernaut, right? They can score. Yards per game, Giants last, 32. Cowboys are 10th. So they're still a top 10 scoring team per game. They're putting yards on the map. Once they kick the ball off, they can have long, sustained drives. They're not just a go deep type of team. A lot of yards per game, away and home. Passing yards, they're 12th. So they're still in that elite type of status in the NFL. Giants passing, of course, with 155 yards, they are ranked 32nd. So the Giants basically are last in pretty much every category. Rushing yards. Now the Cowboys start to fall down a little bit. They're in the middle of the pack. They're ranked 15th. Which makes this kind of a unique stat. Rushing yards per game, the Giants are ranked 13th. Rushing yards per game, Cowboys are ranked 15th. So if the Giants do have any edge at all, Andrew Thomas is back. JMS is back. It does kind of call out the Giants should try to pound the ball. That's where they're their overall successes. Third down conversions. Giants are 26th. Cowboys are third. They do not miss, basically. They are almost perfect on third down. If you're going to have any opportunity to slow the juggernaut of, down, and I say juggernaut, folks, not because I'm kissing any Dallas Cowboys ass. They're ranked. I mean, points per game, they're ranked third in the NFL. So they can score. So on third down conversion, they're third. They barely fail on third down. So if there's going to be an opportunity to hang around, so to speak, they're going to have to do this amazing job on third down. Red zone, Giants are 30th. Here's another interesting stat. The Cowboys are ranked 29th, okay? 44%. Not great in the red zone. So what does that tell you? That they're good, Chris, throwing the ball downfield. They're big with big breakaway runs. But when it comes to short yardage, they're not great.
Mm-hmm.
Turnovers and differential. Giants 12, Cowboys 8. Giants -4, Cowboys +5. We all know if you win it, you're going to win any game in the NFL. It's about turnover differential, right? It's always about who has the most turnovers. And sacks allowed. Giants have led up 49 sacks, most in the NFL. Cowboys have led up 23. That's 11th. So they do protect Dak Prescott well. So those are like the stats, Chris. Let's kind of cut through them.
Yeah.
So if you have a team that scores points, you have a team that doesn't squander third downs, they stay on the field. Their turnover differentials are +5, and they don't let up very many sacks. What would you say? If you're the defense, and you're going up against this offense, like what's the magic here? Where do the Giants have any semblance of a opportunity?
I think with that running game, like you mentioned before, leaning on the running game and control the clock. I think DeVito's got to get the ball out of his hands quick. And I think you're going to see a lot of man-to-man with Dallas because they probably expect DeVito to get the ball out quick and a lot of short stuff, maybe a couple shots. But I think the Giants got to lean on that running game and use the clock. I mean, if they got a bunch of 3-and-outs, it's going to get ugly quick. So they need to, even if they don't score, maybe it's a little bit of a field position game and using the clock to their advantage and see if they can at least be in some sort of a game come the fourth quarter.
So what's interesting to me is that they're not great in the red zone. I like that, right? I mean, that's encouraging, right? That, they're not great in the red zone, but that also on the other side of the coin, Chris, it tells me that they can score from anywhere on the field. Right. They can score in the mid-range. They can score deep from the other half to 50. They can score. So would it help to them to run more of a man defense, or do you think playing zone against the Cowboys?
Oh, okay. So you talk about the Giants defense right now. Oh, I think
only because I'm looking at yards per game is 346 yards, passing 235 yards per game. Like they just put up yards, and I'm just wondering if maybe they're since they don't run the ball so well, so you kind of have to force them to run.
Yeah. I think very similar to maybe what you saw with Devontae Adams last week. Maybe they bracket CeeDee Lamb and you have the two safeties up high, and that way you don't get beat deep and this game doesn't get out of control. It's almost like, if they want to run, let them get chunks here and there, but use the clock, although it wears down the defense a little bit. But I think it's to the Giants' advantage to let the Cowboys have longer drives. Big plays are just going to get this game out of control. So keep everything in front of them, a mix of man and zone. And they'll probably, I would think, bracket CD a little bit more, especially he had like 170 or 80 yards last week receiving against a very good Eagles defense on the corners and secondary. So I think long drives is almost like a bend not break, almost like a Patrick Graham type of and you hope the guys can get there because I don't know if you want to send, many blitzes in this game either. So I'm looking at them. You got to try and get there with your front four, your front three.
Which is also going to be different because you don't have Leo anymore, right?
Yeah.
So
right.
that kind of like, it's just different without Leo there. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yep.
you heard Justin Pugh say a couple times that he doesn't know Leo that well because he's just on the team, and there you go, he's traded him, but he's played against him, and he knows his reputation when he was at Arizona that it's a major loss because of just the guy's a beast, he's a warrior, and he makes offensive lines job difficult. So
yeah, like you mentioned before, Craig, he does the dirty work, right? It frees up a lot of stuff for Dexter. So now you're going to have to rely on the Jordan Riley, DJ Davidson, Ashawn Robinson, Nacho. Hopefully these guys could, secure the middle a little bit and slow down the running game when they do run.
Yes, and the most glaring stat, like I said, for the offense is the rushing. Like they're an average rushing team. They're ranked 15th. They're the middle of the pack. So you almost kind of want to feel like you got to take away the pass, so they're forced to run the ball, and you hope guys like Okereke and McFadden and Dexter and Nacho, those guys can actually hold their own, right? Like because blitzing corners and safeties and exotic stuff, it's got to stay away from them. It's not going to work.
Yeah, and I think I think Aziz is coming back too, so that should help. Hopefully, he's in for a few drives.
If Ojulari comes back healthy, like he could be like something that they're not prepared for. Like he could be that monkey wrench that throws in the Dallas plan because we're like, oh, we didn't expect this. We weren't prepared for this exceptional pass rusher because he's never on the field.
That's right. You know what's interesting, Craig? Dallas Pollard only rushed for maybe 50 yards last week. It was under 50, I think, maybe 40 something. It's like McCarthy, and we said this in the beginning of the season. We're doing the previews. It's like McCarthy can't help himself but throw the ball. He doesn't want to even go to the run unless he has to or just wants to kill clock, but he doesn't even do that. So McCarthy's still McCarthy like he was in Green Bay. He just wants to throw the ball.
Was McCarthy there just with Rodgers, or did he have Favre too? He just had Rodgers, right?
No, he had Favre because remember in 2007, that was he was the head coach when.
So McCarthy's used to just run and gun. He's used to like throwing the ball 30 plus times a game.
Yeah, so it will be interesting if you could take away the pass. See if McCarthy even wants to stick to the run. It's like he can't help himself but go back to the pass. So let's take away the big plays. Thanks
for jumping in, Mark. I see you. Thanks for tuning in. By the way, I want to give a shout out to Mark. Mark has got a son and a grandson, if I'm not mistaken, who are some stellar football players. I was fortunate enough to see their highlight videos. I was fortunate enough to watch them. He shared them with me, and it's just kind of cool, watching a lot of young guys come up and play the game the right way. So shout out to Mark B and his family. All right. So those are the offensive stats. Hit me with the defensive stats, and let's talk about what Tommy DeVito can do.
Yeah, so when you look at the defensive stats, Craig and everybody out there, what's the points allowed, right? Giants are giving up 24. That's come down a little bit than it was, weeks ago before, Miami. So they've done a little bit better. That's 24th in the league. Cowboys, 18. They give up 18 points a game. That puts them at 6. So not a big difference there. So I think you really look to the offense of who scores. I mean, that's the big discrepancy is Dallas puts up points. The Giants don't. Yards allowed per game. Giants are giving up 338 yards a game. Cowboys are giving up 288, and that puts them at 3rd in the NFL with giving up 288 yards per game, and that's total yards. Passing yards. Giants, still, it's just a shame that we don't have an offense because the Giants really do a good job with the passing yards this late in the season, and they're giving up 211 yards per game, and that puts them at 11.
That's all. By the way, that's all the play of Tay Banks.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure a lot of people thought they were going to pick on the rookie. So continue.
Yeah, no, and all season you've seen Wink do a pretty good job of taking away the big time receiver from that whatever team they're playing with the offense. You saw it with Devontae Adams last week. No big plays, so I think that's been a big part of it. Cowboys, very good, 179 yards, which gives them 6th in the league in passing yards allowed, rushing yards allowed per game. Giants. Still can't get under, get close to the 100 mark. They're 25th with giving up 127 yards per game. So that's still, a little bit of an issue. Cowboys giving up over 100, 109 yards a game. That puts them at 15. This one was kind of shocking. The Giants giving third down conversions allowed. They've actually improved pretty well. They're ranked third in the NFL with 34% getting off the field with third down conversions. That's pretty good. That's really good.
Which is what we need, right? Because we know because the Cowboys are almost perfect on third down.
Yeah, and they're pretty good themselves on third downs allowed on defense. They're at 37%, which puts them at 11. This was surprising, actually. I expected the Cowboys to have more sacks than 21. More than 31. The Cowboys have 31 sacks. The Giants have 21. So I expected a little bit more actually out of the Cowboys, but it's 10 difference there, 10 sack difference, and takeaways. Takeaways. The Cowboys, it's big difference. Cowboys have 13, puts them at 11. The Giants are at the bottom, ranked 30th with 8 takeaways.
And that's with going without a takeaway for the first four games of the year.
Right. Yeah.
Giants just don't know how to. They try so hard to strip the ball, and it doesn't work, or they're not in the right spot for interceptions.
Yeah. And Greg, there's actually a stat. I think when you get your +2 in the turnover differential, your winning is like 83%. So it just goes to show, man, you got to win that turnover battle. When you get to +2 in a game, your winning goes up to about 83%.
So Mark has a point about the Giants stopping the run. So Mark, right before you jumped on, what's great about, if there's any silver lining here for this Giants Cowboys game, is rushing yards per game. The Giants are averaging 114 yards per game. That puts them at 13. Cowboys is 111, puts them at 15. They're not a stellar run team. They're not a bad team by any stretch. They're just not. They're not crushing it. So if there's anywhere the Giants have any type of I don't even know what the word you're looking for, leg up chance, right? If there's any chance that the Cowboys aren't going to bludgeon you with their run game. Yeah. So if anything, if there's any matchup here, it's Okereke and McFadden, and Dexter, and of course, Nacho and Robinson shutting down their run game because it's average. And by the way, it's the only thing the Cowboys are average at. And this is just me giving it to you straight. I'm not pumping up, the Cowboys. They're good at everything. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what you see on TV, statistically, they're good at everything. They're only average at running the ball. Slightly better than average running the ball. So if the Giants can shut down or contain, I won't use the word shut down, contain the passing game, there's an opportunity to shut the run game down, but it's going to have to do with individual effort, right? You're going to need guys like Dexter and Nacho and McFadden and Okereke to have big gains, right? Can't miss tackles, right? Those guys, because you're going to want to shut it down in the backside. If you can and you can't shut down, the third best offense, right? So you got to at least contain it, bracket it up, like Chris mentioned a minute ago. If you could kind of bracket it up a little bit, maybe one-on-one defense versus run game, you might have a chance to keep the score down. You know what I mean? They're too good to even say that the Giants have a chance, but I guess anybody can win on any given day. If you are going to win on any given day, it would be, and Chris just read you the defense's stats. You're really going to win on their run game versus our defense, because the pass game will just shred us. Mm-hmm. Regardless of how good Tay Banks is and how great Pinnock is played, they're going to have to be able to have an elite game from a pass defensive standpoint. Would you agree with that?
Oh, I agree with you 100%. I think you're spot on.
Now, the sacks thing that you brought up is super interesting, right? 15 sacks, or 31 sacks, 21 sacks. Can that be defensive sacks. I mean,
Yeah.
is that right? I mean, do the Giants have 31 sacks?
No, that's reversed. That's reversed. That's a typo. The Cowboy, it's reversed. The Giants have 21. The Cowboys have 31. Yeah.
So Giants, came on a little bit late. Thibodeau had a good couple good games recently.
Yep.
Dexter had some good games. Like, as long as I can remember, over the last 6 to 8 years, the Cowboys own the Giants when it comes to sacking the quarterback. Like, what do you call it? Doesn't play all year, but when he plays the Giants, he's got 3 sacks a game.
DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence.
DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yeah.
Like, so I just, even if the Giants lose, which is most likely going to happen, all I would want to see is that guy not have a sack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and the Eagles did a good job last week. Actually, they maybe have gotten 1 sack last week. They actually did a very good job. I mean, we talk about the Eagles too, but yeah. So I agree with you. Got to keep the sacks down and get the ball out of DeVito's hand, quick. I don't even know if play action works in this game because of the time, right? How do you feel, Craig, about play action in this game? You want to stay away from that? You want to see DeVito under center a little bit, or you want to see him shotgun? What do you want to see in DeVito actually?
Great segue. This afternoon, I actually dipped into the Tommy DeVito college tape.
Oh wow! Did you? Nice. Let's hear it.
So
that's called going above and beyond the Call of Duty. Very nice.
Hey Cole, thanks for checking in. We appreciate it. Cole just went through the offensive stats. We just went through the defensive stats. We're migrating over a little bit because it's not going to be a long show. We're migrating over to, like, Chris just asked me what my expectations out of DeVito. Should we be going play action? So being a Jersey guy, having played Don Bosco, in another life, which is where Tommy DeVito was from, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give this cat the respect he's due for making the show, first of all. If anybody doesn't realize, there's 1,800 players in the NFL. It's one of the most elite jobs on the planet, right? So if this average Italian kid from North Jersey can go out there and play at the NFL level for a week or two, I felt I owed him respect. So I pulled up a Illinois game with Tommy DeVito at the quarterback, and I'll tell you what I saw. Okay, so the first thing about DeVito is his forte, or what he's very comfortable with, is throwing on the run. Today, the modern high school offense, and the modern college offense, very similar, right? Very similar in style. High school runs RPO because college runs RPO, right? You got these super athletic quarterbacks, you know what I mean, that we've seen, like, the Stroud, the Youngs, the Joneses, the Mahomes, the Allens. We're seeing these super athletic quarterbacks, right? So Tommy DeVito is not this super athletic kid, but what he can do, he can throw on the run. So he does have the ability to get outside the pocket and throw on the run. What I really liked about his game is he's got very good touch. He can drop. He can put a little air under the ball. Hey, Jesse, thanks for joining in. What do you call it? DeVito can, like.
Oh, by the way, I met Jesse today getting my oil change. I told him about the show. Jesse, thanks for chiming in. Big Giants fan. We were talking Giants.
Awesome. Yep.
So,
awesome. And for all the new folks in the house, Monday night is Giants Rush, where we recap what happens. We complain for the most of the point right now. Monday we have the whole crew in here. We're gonna have interviews on Monday. Today's a nice, easy, chill show. We preview what's coming up. I'm usually not even here, right? But I'm stopping.
Hey, Craig, the next 8 weeks are going to be nice, easy, chill shows. There should be no stress and no pressure. The next 8 weeks, no pressure.
Yeah, week 8, and we're already talking like draft. But in any case, yeah. Tommy DeVito, Illinois, good throws on the run. Went to Don Bosco High School, New Jersey. I like his touch, Chris. He has a good touch ball. I saw him throw 2 balls. Were sideline throws, right? Dropped them right in the bucket. He's got a very good touch pass between, let's say, 25 and 35 yards. Very good touch pass. He's actually extremely accurate. He doesn't have great speed on the ball. He doesn't release the ball very fast. He's not going to see Wan'Dale Robinson in the hole and punch it through. Like he just doesn't have that release. You know what I mean? Doesn't have that type of release, but he is accurate. So if they can, the conversation today, what I read was that Kafka, your boy, was it Tierney? Is that the quarterback coach?
Oh, Shea Tierney. Yeah. Yes.
Tierney, Kafka, Dable, and DeVito sat down and went through every single play in the playbook today. It's about that thick. So they went through everything. So I'm assuming they're going to get him on the run. They're going to get him in space.
And Craig, off that point, to find out what he likes, what he's good at, what does he want to run, right?
Yep. And because we already went over the fact that the Giants can run the ball, tit for tat. With the Cowboys, play action's got to be part of it, Chris.
Got to bring those linebackers up a little bit. Yeah,
100%. We know that they're outmanned and outgunned almost at every single stage of this game. The only stat that you just read and I just read that were equal was both teams' running game.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to use some play action, right? Some play action to keep the linebackers honest. If you take out play action entirely, I would have to think it would play into the defensive hands.
Yeah. And you have, with Schmitz, Pugh at his best spot at guard and Thomas back at left tackle, and Glinski playing better, maybe play action works for once. Because they haven't run it too much. But now with some semblance of a line other than right tackle, because Neal will be out, maybe they'll be able to be successful doing that a little bit.
Now let's move over let's talk back to red zone. Giants are 36th or 30th in the red zone. The Cowboys are 29th in the red zone. So my question is I'm assuming that in your eyes that benefits the Giants, that maybe you can keep them to field goals.
Yeah, I wish I had a stat, Craig, on big plays. I think they define big plays as anything over 20 yards, and I have to get that stat next time. That could be a factor.
Explosive plays.
But maybe that's part of it.
Explosive plays plus 20 yards.
Yeah, because we know the Giants don't have many explosive plays, but I'm wondering how many the Cowboys have that kept them out of the red zone and how many resulted to the points the plays. So if you took the total points, I want to see total points based on how many of those were big plays.
Well, I can make this assumption. They're number 3 in the NFL on points per game. But
right.
if they're 30th, they're 29th in the red zone. So they're throwing the ball down the field or ripping off big runs. They're not, because when they do get in the end zone, they're not scoring.
Right.
They're not scoring a lot of points. The points per game, which is astronomical, right? 3rd in the NFL. It's big explosive plays.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the red zone, they're not even average, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not even average in the red zone. They're ranked 29th in the NFL with red zone efficiency. So again, if you're going to compete, it's going to be run game versus run game, right? Because their run game's not great. Our run game's not great. The difference is that we consider that a badge of honor that we're middle of the pack.
That's right. And like we said before, Craig, can McCarthy stay true to the running game, or will he not be able to help himself and still throw the ball downfield despite, us bracketing CeeDee Lamb and putting extra defenders, in the secondary, going with a big nickel or a dime? Because McCarthy, like we said, he can't help himself. He will get away from the running game.
Yes, and by the way, it shows you that even when they try to run the ball, they're not great at it.
Yeah.
So he wants to throw the ball, regardless if you love or hate Dak Prescott. He's doing a great job. You know what I mean? They're throwing the ball down the field like in a big time big boy offense, right?
Yeah.
So even if Tay Banks has an outstanding game, if they're throwing the ball 38 times a game, it's going to be tough to defend. So again, there's a lot of mano a mano. Like you got to win one-on-one battles, because if you bring a safety down in the box, you're going to get caught. If you blitz a corner off, the edge, you're going to get caught. This game, if there's any opportunity for the New York Giants to compete, it's one-on-one. It's literally CeeDee Lamb versus Tay Banks. It's literally, Kayvon Thibodeau versus, whoever their left tackle is. Like, I don't even know who their left tackle is.
You got Tyrone Smith, and then you got Terrence Steele on the other side.
So everything that they're bringing to the table has got to be one-on-one. You're not going to see them, with a lot of exotic blitzes and stuff like that because they're going to get caught. The Cowboys are just too explosive to have way too many, intricate blitz packages.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so your thoughts on DeVito. What do you want to see? What does DeVito have to do? What does the offense have to do? Is Waller still out? We don't. I mean, is there any?
Yeah, Waller's out. Neal's going to probably be out on the offense, and I don't know about Corbin as another running back. He might be out still too. So yeah, we'll have to see on Corbin. But it looks like it's Breida, Barkley, and I'm not sure about that third spot. Yeah.
And we're looking at Neal's. So Phillips is in.
Yeah, it looks like Phillips will probably be the right tackle. But, to answer your question, DeVito, I think get the ball out of his hands quick, right? You don't want him sitting back there. Lean on that running game. I think that first drive for the Giants, whether they get the ball first or second, is so important. Even if they have to punt, if they can just put a couple of first downs together, use the clock, and just keep the game, gosh, I don't even want to say close. I mean, just keep the game within striking distance. Just keep the game manageable, right? I'd like to see a few – build the confidence, get a good drive. Even if they don't score, let's get a couple of first downs and not get 3 and out. But I think DeVito, it's going to be get it out of his hands quick and lean on that running game. I think we're going to see more screens. I think we might see some reverses. I think a bag of tricks comes out this week, considering there's nothing to lose. And with an aggressive defense, right? Craig, aggressive defense, maybe a lot of misdirection.
And you can't depend on DeVito either. That's the thing. The only thing that what he likes to do, and I'm just putting this out there now, is one is without Waller, you get more reps for Bellinger. If Bellinger gets more reps, I think you're going to see more Hodgins. Okay, yeah, he had a bad drop this past weekend, right? He's probably a little cold. DeVito hasn't had a lot of time. Jay says, let DeVito cook. I don't know how much cooking Jay DeVito can do, but if he can manage the game, that would be great. Like Chris said, get the ball out of his hands. I mean, maybe Wan'Dale Robinson becomes his best friend where it's a lot of underneath stuff. What I don't want to see, Chris, and what I saw last week was one alarming thing. Do you know what that is about DeVito?
He's not looking downfield when he gets a rush.
It's way too deep.
Hold on to the ball too long.
Nope, you're way too deep.
Way too deep. What you don't like is something uniform related?
No.
No, tell me. I don't know. What is it? What is it?
He's not afraid.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like the guy is running, 2 plays, two out of 4 plays. I want him to be afraid. I want him to, and I'm being facetious, but we don't need DeVito getting hurt and going.
And he took a shot last week. If everybody remembers, he took a shot and they didn't throw a flag, and that was obvious. So
100%. And then he gave Crosby a little arm with the neck thing.
Yeah, I like the feistiness.
DeVito was like this. It's my only shot. But I don't know how good DeVito is or isn't.
Right.
We know he's a backup quarterback, but he's a backup's backup quarterback for the Giants. So all I want him to do. Cole says he could be an average burger flipper, which is 1,000% accurate.
Maybe
Cole.
Evan Neal can hire him.
Exactly. But for this week, all I want him to do is just do what you're required to do. Like, I don't want him taking any unnecessary chances. And we're looking at Matt Barkley. We might as well just forfeit or Eason. We did sign Eason, right?
Yep. So practice squad. Yep.
So, it's just, if you thought about last week, literally there was no backup quarterback.
Amazing. And think about this, Craig. Tyrod Taylor has his deal's up after this year. I mean, this is a big audition for DeVito to come into camp next year. Even if they draft a quarterback, to just be in the mix or set up himself to be a backup somewhere else in the NFL, because he may move from that third spot to an actual backup job somewhere in the NFL. So this is huge.
I'm going to put this on the screen, Chris, because we here we go. Okay. So this here, fellas, is the top 10 free agent quarterbacks that are available in the 2024 season. Cousins, Tannehill, Brissett, Taylor, Mariota, Darnold, Winston, Locke, Mayfield, and Minshew, right? So, Chris, here's the thing. I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if Tommy DeVito is cut out for a backup quarterback job. He may be, right? And as much as I actually think, Tyrod Taylor is a cool, calm, collected dude, he also has gotten hurt, I think, 3 times.
Yeah.
Since he's, when he starts, he I don't know, he's a little bit older of a guy. He's tough as nails, but he tends to get hurt too.
Yep.
Giants may need to go into camp next year with Jones as a bridge quarterback for someone that they, someone that they draft, or maybe there's a trade. I don't know, but I don't know if DeVito comes in as your backup quarterback. And these guys here that I have on the screen are all going to be expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you. So I think what happened, I mean, just thinking right now, Jones won't be ready. Well, they actually said he wouldn't possibly be ready week 1. So you're going to have to bring somebody in, even if they draft a quarterback, just to be able to run through training camp, some sort of a veteran. So maybe it's not DeVito, but I don't know. If DeVito shows out, maybe they do bring him in. But they're going to need a third quarterback next year because Jones won't be ready, by the time training camp starts.
It's true, though. You know what? Like, Cole's got a really good point. I think I'm on the same page. We're like, how bad, are we if our hope is put on? And again, nothing is Tommy DeVito. The dude is out kicking his coverage, right?
Yeah.
But, how bad do we have to be? There's got to be a scenario where the backup quarterback is one of those 10 guys I just put on the screen,
right.
like Minshew or Tannehill or, any of those guys.
And guys will be released. We know that, like a guy like Mike White that's out here who's a backup. And maybe DeVito can find his, Mike White in him this weekend. But, a guy like Mike White is out there that could be a veteran that could just come in and hold it down till Jones or the other guy's ready. We'll have to see. But it's funny, Craig. Most quarterbacks in DeVito's position, they're looking to showcase themselves to become a starter. DeVito is showcasing himself to actually try and be a backup somewhere. So that's how far this is down. He doesn't necessarily think he's going to be a starter somewhere. He's showcasing himself to be actually on a 53-man roster as a backup. Which
again, I want to scratch my head here. Something I know this cat it hasn't had much success lately, but Carson Wentz was like an MVP candidate till he blew out his knee that one year, and then he's just a series of injuries. And
right.
But I mean, wouldn't Carson Wentz be a better option than Matt Barkley?
Well, I think Matt Barkley, because he comes from the Buffalo system that Dable ran, I think that's a big part of it. Obviously Wentz was picked up this week too by the Rams, but I think Barkley knows the system. They can ramp him up pretty quick. And with Wentz, I don't know what the salary is for Wentz. He probably is going to get more than Barkley. And at this point, what's the point? Maybe they envision running DeVito out for the rest of the season and just roll with it.
And guys, I understand. I definitely know Joe. Thanks. I mean, I know Carson Wentz got signed by the Rams. But we've been talking about Barkley now for 2 weeks, right? Yeah. And I know he's got there's not a lot of Jay's point, not a lot of fans. Wentz somehow has a bad reputation for trash talking coaches or doing whatever. I don't see why I'm trotting out more Buffalo guys because not one Buffalo guy has worked out so far.
Yeah, well, at 2-7, Craig, what's the point anyway? He knows the system. You can plug him in, and he knows what's going on. Tyrod Taylor could very well be back after that 4-week injured reserve. He'll be eligible. So maybe there's hope there that he'll come back. So by signing a Wentz, maybe they just – at 2-7, it's not like it's they already know what they get in Wentz. Let's see what they have with the DeVito and just run them out. I don't know.
Joe says Barkley's on the sport track is pegged in at $200K, which is not a bad day's work.
Yeah, for practice squad. Yeah, right. And they could elevate him 3 times. So if DeVito does horrible, God forbid gets hurt, they bring him up next week and he could run the offense.
So again, we're not going to kill it with a long show. Just going to run this by you real fast. Give me your your 2-minute your elevator. So a lot of talk about, it is looking like the Giants might have to move on from Jones. Jones becomes a bridge quarterback next year to somebody, right? Is there any scenario where Jones is coming out and being the 2024 comeback player of the year, or is everyone past that by now? Is everyone just because the fan base is tired of losing. I get it, and you guys don't even have to type it in there. Fan base is tired of losing. The people who love Jones feel like he's gotten a bad shake and beat up at every turn, which is still true and accurate with a crappy offensive line. And then on the other side, he hasn't been able to do what we want him to do for whatever the reason is. But he's going to be here in 2024. Is your scenario in your head that Jones, again, is the bridge to someone they draft?
I think so. I think the scenario is they said he'll be ready by, the start of next season. I don't know what that means about training camp, but I think what you could see is they're going to draft the quarterback. They're going to see how he progresses during training camp, OTAs, and all that stuff, and in mini camp. And if Dable feels confident that this new quarterback that they draft can start the season, I think they would roll with it. But if they don't feel confident in it, I think you look at a veteran quarterback. If Jones isn't ready, or if Jones is ready, you're starting him, and then this quarterback is in waiting when the time is right. And if Jones doesn't play well, then he's going to be pulled, and then you start the rookie. But I think it all depends on the confidence they have on what I assume will be a quarterback that they're going to draft in this year's or the 2024 draft. I think it's a wait and see. Let's see who they draft and how they feel confident about the system and how he progresses in training camp.
We are going to do a quarterback show. We probably won't do it today, right? But we're going to do a quarterback show because, there's a lot of – I feel there are anywhere from 4 to 6 quality quarterbacks in this draft that could go in the first round, early second round. There are some polarizing guys like Caleb Williams and, of course, Drake May. But again, they're not the only two. And I'm going to just say this one more time. I'm sure you guys have seen me tweet it. I mean, LSU is a pretty dynamic team. The only guy that's gone out and beat Daniels, who, by the way, is number 1 in the QBR right now for college football, is Daniels from LSU. The only guy to go beat him is my boy Jackson Dart at Ole Miss, who's also up for the Manning Award. I wouldn't sleep on him. And if you guys haven't heard me say it, go check him out. He's top 10 QBR, Ole Miss QB. 6'2", 215 pounds, very good player. I did have a nice conversation with someone on Twitter today, said they thought it was a little bit of a project. Jackson Dart transferred to Ole Miss when they brought Caleb Williams in. So, he would have been a 3-year starter at USC. Caleb Williams is a freak show. So, he's going to come in and take that job. I really like a Jackson Dart. You guys should look into watching some Ole Miss games. Penix, and we'll talk about him. Poor Penix can ball like crazy, Chris, but the man's got a long history of injuries.
Yeah, you're saying, right, red flag. And both those knee surgeries, was that in college or was one in high school? Both of those are in college?
Two ACLs in college. Remember, Penix has been in college football for 6 years.
Part of it was the COVID, the eligibility, right? He got the extra year
and the injury. Yeah, so he had half his career at Indiana and then half his career at Washington. Don't get me wrong, the dude can ball, but I'm just like, it's kind of hard to draft a guy who's had 2 ACLs, a separated shoulder, and a major concussion.
Yeah.
But there's some other guys out there. Like I said, there's Daniels at LSU. There's JJ McCarthy, which I watched last night. Watched a replay of Michigan playing Purdue. So I think everyone's listening to what all the media says. And the media says it's a 2-man show. And it's not a 2-man show. We've got to think for ourselves. We got to watch some tape. We got to watch some college football. I'm going to bring in Mark, which his tag is I think it's Big Smooth or Smooth. He's down in Carolina. He's really familiar with Drake May. So we're going to have him on in a week or two so he can kind of give us the background on Drake May. I don't watch any UNC football.
Good.
I mean, so we're definitely going to have a quarterback show the next couple of weeks. We're going to talk about Bo Nix, and we're going to – thank you, Jay. We're We're talking about Bo Nix, and we're talking about McCarthy. We're going to talk about Penix. Talk, of course, Caleb Williams, who's, don't get me wrong, guy's a freak show. But you know what I mean? Like, I just would like to see him get the ball out of his hand a little faster. But it's a QB, yes, Mark. It's a QB-friendly draft. Giants this week in Dallas. They got their work cut out for them. Any keys to the game here, Chris, before we let everybody go? Any keys?
Yeah, and I have a question for you and everybody else out there. But yeah, keys to the game is takeaways, right? They need a couple turnovers, so it's a ball security, I think, is a key, and that running game, the running game. So keys to the game are going to be the secondary, bracketing CeeDee Lamb, and no big plays, trying to stick to the running game for the Giants, and if they can win the turnover battle and field position. So that would be my keys.
All right, and my keys to the game would be, knowing Dak Prescott's history. He's not great at getting hit. Again, I don't think the Giants can afford any type of exotic blitzes because the offense is too powerful. Like you're gonna need your nickel package, your dime package. Hasn't Bo Nix been in college for 12 years? It has been. Him and Penix have been in Cole. You're right. Penix and Bo Nix have literally been in college forever. Literally.
It always reminds me of Chris Weinke. Remember Chris Weinke? He was like 28 when he got out.
When he was like 40. But yeah, so if there's any keys to the game for me, I think it's if they could if Kayvon Thibodeau could just win the one-on-one battle. Like we kill him for taking games off or disappearing. If his motor can just run hot, this weekend like it has been the last couple of weeks. Dak doesn't like to get hit. He gets a little squirrely when he starts getting hit.
That's true.
So I'd like to see Kayvon. And if Azeez Ojulari comes back and balls out, that would be exciting to see because, you're going to get a face full of Tay Banks and CeeDee Lamb this weekend. You can only hope they can hang in there, right?
Yeah, and two things, Craig. They got beat 40-0, right? And Kayvon knows he hears the echoes of, hey, you're not a Micah Parsons. You're good, you're playing good, but you're not Micah Parsons. So I'm sure he wants to show on the same field that I can be a Micah Parsons. So it seems like when Thibodeau hears the chatter, he comes through. So I'm expecting a big game by Thibodeau. And
I'll be first one to eat crow. Like I wasn't loving Thibodeau, but I got to give the guy credit. He's gotten better every single week. I think he's figuring out. I mean, listen, honestly, if you look at Kayvon Thibodeau, I've never seen a pass rusher with an inside move, right? I mean, he can swim to the inside. It's really very rare for a guy to be able to swim to the inside and then still beat the guy to the outside. So he's definitely accumulating some pass rush moves that he did not have even 5 weeks ago when the season started. So he's gotten much better. And I'll eat crow. I'll be the first guy to tell you, like, I don't like him against the run. He definitely doesn't come down the line and make those tackles backside. But I find him getting better every single week. And if him and Azeez are on the field together, we've been salivating for that for quite some time.
This is the week,
so I really got to give, Thibodeau a shout out. Boom. Thanks for, giving us something in a bad year. Okereke McFadden has been playing lights out with crazy PFF grades. So, Dexter, McFadden, Okereke, and Tibbs and Tay Banks and Pinnock have been basically what we have to look forward to, right?
That's right.
All right, before we go, you had a question.
Yeah, question for you, Craig. So give me final stats for Tommy DeVito. What are we looking at when you look at his box score?
All right. Well, I'm going to write this down.
Give me yards, touchdown, even completion, interception.
All right. And then if I got completions, I got to go attempts.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to say we're going to throw the ball 22 times.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to complete 16 of the 22.
Okay.
He's going to throw for. So he's going to throw for. He's going to throw for 198 yards. He's going to throw one interception.
and that'll be bounced off somebody's shoulder pad.
Yeah. He's going to throw
Who's the
one.
player? Slayton?
He's going to throw one interception, and then believe it or not, he's going to have one touchdown, but I don't know if it's running or passing because, he does like to scramble a little bit and run. So I'm going to go for 16 of 22 for 198 yards, one interception, one touchdown. How about you?
I think the Giants will get behind in this game at some point. I say he's going to throw the ball about 32 times.
Whoa. Okay.
At some point. And I don't think they want to do that, but I think he'll be forced to, being down a few scores, and they'll just let him open it up a little bit.
How many is he going to complete?
I say if he throws it. All right, let's go. All right, I'm going to change it. Let's go 30 times. He'll throw the ball 30 times, and he'll go 20, say 22 for 30.
Wow. Okay, that's not a bad day, though, dude.
No, it's not a bad day. It's very Zach Wilson-like.
Right now, I wish I had Zach Wilson.
I don't know, man. Maybe we need a Mike White. Does DeVito have a Mike White in him to just pull out I don't
think so, but I'll wait. All right, so how many yards?
Not going to be crazy. Let's say he throws for two. I'll say 218.
Interceptions?
I'll go with one pick.
Touchdowns?
I say he throws 2 touchdowns.
What? This is.
I'll say, all right. Let's just say he either runs. You're putting 2 as you're counting the one just that he runs in.
He's either running one or throwing one. I'm not giving him 2.
Okay. All right. Yeah. This is such a weird game. This is such. It's just when you think you got it figured out, you go opposite. Giants will lose, but I say he throws two touchdowns.
Fair enough.
He threw one last week. He wasn't even in it.
We will revisit this, gentlemen, on Monday. That's kind of your recap. If the Giants are going to do anything, it's going to be on the ground and their running game. If they're going to do anything, it's going to be no exotic blitzes. It's going to be double bracketing it up. CeeDee Lamb. If they're going to do anything, it's going to be one-on-ones, no exotic blitzes. Dexter, Kayvon, they're going to have to beat their guys one-on-one. Mark says that completion percentage is too high.
The comment, would I say 22 of 30?
You said he was going to complete 22 of 30, that he was only going to miss 8 passes. You got to stick with it now.
I want to change that. Give me 18 of 30.
No way. Oh, come on.
All right, no, we'll stick with it.
I'll give you
20 of 30. Give me 20 of 30.
Yeah, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt that he goes.
These comments are killing me.
They are.
Jay said before, he goes, we don't have explosive offense. We have an implosion offense. And then I think Mark B just said,
Jay says we lost 40 to nothing.
Yeah.
Jay says we lost 40 to nothing. He's like
Kafka doesn't throw.
Yeah, and he's like we have all backup players.
Yeah, guys are cool.
All right,
man,
that's kind of like
this is how we're gonna get through 8 weeks. Is the comments? This is how we're gonna get through it. Keep those funny comments coming, man.
Wait a minute, hang on. I got to ask Jay something. Jay, it says not even Darius thinks we'll win. Where's Darius? I don't see Darius. Darius, are you in here?
He's watching another show, probably. We're not
yeah, probably. Probably. But that's okay because you need to diversify your portfolio.
That's it.
You definitely need to diversify your portfolio. That's kind of it, guys. And we went over both the offense and defense stats. I told you I watched a little DeVito from his college days. Good touch, accurate thrower, good on the run. Does not have a quick release. Does not have a laser type of arm to thread. Who's mad at me? Darius is mad at me. Darius is mad at me for all the wrong reasons.
A lot of checkdowns, Craig. Maybe a lot of checkdowns on Sunday.
Yep. I mean, hey, look. Thomas is back. We have rushing yards per game. We're 13th in the NFL. So maybe we run the ball with some success. Maybe.
Let's do it. Control the clock. Let's lose by 3 touchdowns and we're all good.
Everybody tell Darius I said hi, and we're not really sure why he's mad at me, but he shouldn't be because it's life's too short. But we appreciate all you guys always hanging out with us.
Craig, what did you do? He's mad at you? What did you do?
I don't know. People are mad at me for all sorts of stuff. Oh, the repost. Like, yeah, I had a misclick, and I'm being judged by my mistakes. Not the 10 years of being here and being fair to everybody.
Well, then this is the wrong show for everybody. Then if they think they're coming in here without mistakes.
I mean, I love all you guys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think I'm a pretty
standard riddle show. Yeah.
One misclick and they're ready to put you at the firing range, right? I said, hey, look, if anything, and I said this, Chris, if anything, what we need is the guys on Twitter to stop being creeps to all the girls out there. Like, stop being so creepy and mean. Like, they're like, let's have a little bit more positivity in the community. Our team is bad enough.
Yeah,
and like,
that's the problem. We're so bad that these creeps have nothing, you know.
I know, and they're out of control. They're rude and they're nasty, and they say some crazy stuff.
Oh boy,
crazy stuff. So, yeah, what we need is more understanding and sympathy and some nice folks in the community, because life is just way too short. Yep. Says yeah, I know, Cole, but it was a mistake. It wasn't even on the screen. I'm not defending myself anymore. It was a mistake. People make mistakes all the time. If we're out there just judging people by their mistakes, we've got problems with the world. So I still love everybody, including Darius and everybody else. People make mistakes unless you guys are all perfect, because I am definitely not, and definitely am not a perfect individual. In fact, I'm going to make a mistake in 5 minutes from now. So,
Same here.
Bang. Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate everybody. And, again, life's too short. Go Giants. Hopefully better things to come in the near future. And we're going to have a quarterback show. Oh, and don't forget, we got on the bye week, I've got an interview with a Giants player coming in who you guys are going to want to talk to. So we're going to take your questions for that interview, which will be in a couple weeks. The store is open. If you're looking for gear, check out, all the Rush gear that's in there. And Cole says, I could give two shit. I know, Cole, you're the man. It's like, boom. That's because Cole is family, dude. Well, you're all family, by the way.
Yeah.
You're all family. We so appreciate, all you guys. I will say too, I want to give a shout out that somebody in the Rush Fantasy Football League finally beat Spartan Mike. So I'm hoping Joe, who's normally in the chat, beats Spartan Mike so he can lose twice, because I got a killer autographed jersey to give away, and I do not want to give. You know what? Spartan Mike's not winning it, so you guys got to beat Spartan Mike in the Rush Fantasy Football League. So thanks for everything, guys. Appreciate you guys. Bang, we're out. We'll see you guys on Monday to recap the bloodbath. But you never know. You just never know. Anybody could give, a blessing, and all of a sudden something happens.
What did they say, Craig? That's why you play the game, right? They got to show up and play it.
Yeah, we don't play the game on paper, right? So
it might be over at the end of the first quarter, but they still got to play.
And you'll be looking to change your plane ride home real fast.
Oh, general admission, $35. I'm not getting a seat. Yeah.
Bang. Night, gentlemen. Appreciate you guys. See you on Monday. Peace out.